What's going on YouTube? This is Jim Afanis, aka Viper Magic, and today I wanted to do a video talking about the amazing news I heard today regarding Gears of War and how Gears of War is going to be re-releasing what I believe is going to be a remastered edition. So I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about, and I casually asked my wife, where would you rank Gears on your top games of all time? And surprisingly, she didn't have a place for it, and she gave me a pretty convincing argument. So that got me to thinking, what are my top games of all time? So the first one has to be Shadow of the Colossus. I cannot begin to say on what a level emotionally that game moved me and how that game really made me think about games in general. It was a very minimalistic self-discovery type of plot that had an amazing payoff and an amazing ending, and the combat was tight, and it really worked. And that's one of those games that I can still think about how I felt when it ended, and I beat it 4 or 5 years ago. So to me, without any doubt, Shadow of the Colossus is my greatest game of all time. Then I started thinking, okay, well, does Gears rank in the top 3? And I immediately said, of course it does, right? Other games that could be in that list include the Dark Souls series, specifically Dark Souls 1, for a lot of the same reasons as the Shadow of the Colossus game. There's a lot of self-discovery and a lot of you kind of had to read between the lines. It was a very bleak story that didn't necessarily have a happy ending. You couldn't tell if you were being lied to or not when you were playing through the game, and it was kind of up to you to piece together what you thought was happening and how you thought it would play out. And I really, really liked that. And I said, okay, well then Gears has to be number 3, right? And then I started thinking about Halo and how great of a game Halo was. Specifically Halo 3 and the conclusion of the original trilogy. And those final moments when you're drifting in outer space and John looks at Cortana and he says, "Wake me when you need me." And how at the end, the Arbiter, words so easy. And just some of those epic set pieces. Driving the dune buggy on the beach, fighting that big walker, and getting in Banshees and everything. That's a great game, right? So does that knock Gears out? Then I started thinking about Metal Gear Solid and how great the original Metal Gear Solid game was. What a revolutionizing game that was from Hideo Kojima. And just him breaking the fourth wall, and such a complex plot that actually made sense when you thought about it, and all the in-game cutscenes and the CGI. That was an amazing, amazing experience as well. So, God, so many good games to pick from. Does Gears fit in there? I don't know. How about Mario Galaxy? My wife says that's one of her favorites, and I have to agree. Mario Galaxy was really, really great because it really put the platforming game on its head with the inclusion of 3D, just gravity wells, and how you could slingshot around different planets, and just the scope and breadth of that game was really, really, for its time, pretty revolutionary. And Mario only seemed to expand on such a great formula that was prevalent in Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine, but to take it to the next level with Galaxy was truly amazing. So again, how does that rank? And then I started thinking, man, maybe I don't have my list as well as I thought I should. Now, are there new games that are out now that could be considered greatest of all time? I don't think so, but definitely contenders. I think Fallout 3 was a really good game. It was very open world. There was a lot to do, a lot to see. In the same vein, I believe Skyrim, or any of the Elder Scrolls games for that matter, could be considered. But is a great game a game that just takes in a formula and just perfects it? If that's true, you could argue Last of Us was a great game. But did Last of Us really do anything that a game previous to it didn't do? It had an active cover system, it had a stealth system, and it had shooting mechanics, which are pretty tight. Now, the story was good, but I've seen those elements in every other game that I've mentioned, at least some way or another. But I don't know. The great thing about this is there is no right answer. I mean, sure, it can you could get into some pretty heated flame wars, but I don't think by me saying Shadow of the Colossus is the greatest game of all time should offend anyone. Maybe you never heard of it and you want to go check it out, and I highly recommend you do so. So my question to you is, and I totally got off tangent on purpose, what is your favorite game of all time, and how do you see your top 3 or top 5 ranking up? I'm curious to hear from you guys. Tomorrow night I will be focusing on, I'm going to do some deep thought on Gears, but I want to talk a little bit about what I think, or I hope, this Gears bundle could possibly be. I have some major complaints about the way the franchise went in Judgment. So stay tuned for that tomorrow night. But until then, I'm going to shut up, and I'm curious to hear from you guys. Please do me a favor. Comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. I want to hear about you. Tell me your favorite games. Tell me why. Tell me about some of those amazing emotional experiences you had. Tell me about the first time you beat Gears 3 with your buddies on Horde mode and how you felt. Or when you played Diablo and beat it on hard with your then girlfriend, now wife. Tell me about, some cool experiences, because I think that is where the true criteria lie. But again, it's just one guy's opinion. I want to hear from you. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.